Aleykum. I have a new guest today. Her name is Hawra Milani. When I found her on Instagram, her page was quite interesting because she radiated confidence. That was the reason why I texted you. Even as a woman in the tech world and doing your own job and being a mother too. So mashallah, why wouldn't you introduce yourself before we begin?
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Lovely to be here on your podcast, and thank you for reaching out. You know, your profile is equally, if not more, actually amazing and inspiring, and your work is really exciting. And I love that you're doing a podcast in addition to having a job and having studies and having so many things to do. So kudos to you. It is something I've contemplated a few times, but I'm not as brave as you to go ahead and
Thank
start a
you.
podcast. So thank you. Yeah, my name's Hawra Milani. I'm a techie at heart, always have been obsessed with the world of tech and how computers operate. I'm a mother of two beautiful children, a girl and a boy, alhamdulillah, so super blessed. Um, I worked for Google for a few years in terms of speaking internationally for them and then starting their community in Iraq. So introducing the Iraqi community to Google's work and introducing Google to the tech ecosystem in Iraq. Did that between 2017 and 2021 approximately. And then I joined Meta, formerly known as Facebook, in their social impact team, which I recently left and now have gone solo, doing my own thing, exploring my own work. So that's a little gist about my life and my work.
Well, interesting. So we begin as who you are as a human being. The title of the podcast is called Why Are You You? Human Behind the Name. So we could begin with the first question. How was your childhood?
That's the one that feels like a therapy session now. My childhood, alhamdulillah, being born in London, coming from an Iraqi background, you always have, although you end up with a diverse perspective and open to diversity, you don't feel like the community that you're growing up in is going to treat you the same way. So there was a lot of learning to be done. I can imagine it was a lot more difficult for our parents moving from their homelands in the middle of their age, and in the 80s it wasn't such a diverse culture as it is now, alhamdulillah. But that did pass on to us, and I guess we did our best in terms of learning and integrating within society. In terms of familial kind of growing up, alhamdulillah, it was good. Had my parents, I'm the youngest, so I did get spoilt, the youngest of a big family, alhamdulillah. And it wasn't without its challenges, but those challenges have definitely helped shape who I am today. And I think the biggest lessons I learned from childhood are resilience and the value of curiosity.
In Germany and even in the UK and Western countries, there are areas where there are a lot of foreigners, a lot of maybe Iraqi, Arab people, Kurdish people, Persian people, for example, around these areas. So, did you grow up in an area where there were a lot of foreigners, a lot of maybe British people, as you face some difficulties?
There were quite a few people from our background who were living in the same area. I wouldn't say it was the majority. No, we were a minority. So there were a few families who we knew and were close with, and I'm very good friends with the girls who I grew up with. There were a few of them were my age, which was great. We grew up together and went to the same school together. So alhamdulillah, that was a blessing. But during what we call, middle high school, I did go to a different school, what we call a state school. And so I got introduced to a lot more different cultures and different people and different backgrounds. And I had to toughen up, let's say, those days.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I wasn't as protected as I was in the schools, in the community that I was previously. So alhamdulillah, got a bit of both worlds and learnt. I can imagine it was the same for you as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. I totally understand and imagine how you grew up as a child in the West. Um, so my question now is, how is your relationship with your parents, being in a different generation and them coming into a new country? How was the relationship?
It was, alhamdulillah, it was a solid relationship. So it's been a journey of evolution with my parents. My relationship with my parents, it's definitely based on mutual respect. They've been my guiding stars. They've always offered support and wisdom, but also let me do my own thing, especially when I was growing up and really, really interested in technology and computers and cameras and photography. And that wasn't something that they were used to. Girls being super interested in this, and they had to face this situation where the majority, and I do say this, the majority of community were like, oh, she's a tomboy, why is she acting like a boy, all interested in this technological stuff and cycling and all these active kind of hobbies. But they were always supportive of it. It wasn't something that made them feel like, oh, they need to change me. Super supportive. So alhamdulillah, my relationship has been solid with them from day one, and I'm grateful. I know that's I'm very lucky to have this.
How's your relationship with money?
That's a really interesting question. Very direct. Money is something I love talking about when it comes to women and business, by the way. So it's something I'm fascinated about because I know that we are always, the gender pay gap is real. In terms of my personal view on money, I do view it as a tool, not as a goal. And by that, I mean, it's a means for me to achieve my dreams in terms of supporting those whom I love. Like I have huge dreams and ambitions of supporting women in education, providing scholarships for women around the world, providing them with a tech education. And the reason why I'm so obsessed with tech education and software engineering and programming is that I feel like it fits perfectly with the lifestyle that many women have in underserved communities. So I'm going to kind of take you to like a little story, let's say in Iraq. If you have women who get their degrees in computer science, they're supported to get a degree, they study, and then after that, they're not allowed to work. I'm not generalizing, by the way. I'm saying in certain areas, in certain cities, in certain villages. The woman is then, for example, not allowed to work or doesn't have an opportunity to work because her dad, her brother, her husband will only want her to work in a female environment, and that is to protect her and secure her, right? So the only opportunities she has is to work from home. Now, a lot of them, when they're working from home, they're trying to think, okay, what kind of crafts can I build? What kind of things can I do with my hands I can create and sell? And then she's having to think of a whole business model and how she's going to create and sell things, right? Whereas when she has a tech education, she can just have a laptop and internet. We teach her all these skills. She can make really, really good money working from any company around the world from the comfort of her own home. If she decides to have kids and has kids around her, she works around their kind of schedule. And so it works if you're any type of person, really. It doesn't even have to be a woman, people who cannot access work outside their home. And so I'm obsessed with this idea of tech education. And now I'm going to bring us back to the question of money. I definitely view it as a tool that would help me achieve my ambitions and dreams of supporting other people around the world, because that's where my ambition lies.
You talked about women who don't have any skills or don't have any job. Do you also motivate people or women or men who also have a job? Like I'm a dentist. Like, would you advise me to learn or to dive into the tech world more?
100%, 100%. I'm a huge advocate of this, especially around the world of AI, right? Everyone knows how AI is, quote unquote, for those who are listening and not watching, taking over the world, taking over jobs. And it's not going to be something that's going to happen suddenly, but it is going to happen gradually. We can see how AI took over a lot of creative writing blog posts. It's taking over artwork. It's working with doctors right now in terms of medicine and procedures and prescribing, and it's going into the education sector. So in terms of technology and where we are headed, I truly believe that artificial intelligence is going to be working hand in hand with us. And therefore, I think it's super important for all of us, whether doctors, dentists, architects, anyone who's working in any field, should educate themselves about AI and its technologies and its its capabilities. Definitely worth looking into it.
Isn't it dangerous? Because you don't know the difference between the truth and not the truth. Because AI literally can offer you a lot of things, a lot of texts, even websites, pictures, like what's reality, what's not reality. And this is what scares me.
Rightly so. Rightly so. It's as with any technology, I think a lot of the time we see the moment a new technology arrives, many human beings tend to use it for evil and not for good. Like it happened with mobile phones, it happened with satellites, channels, it happened with the internet. And so I don't think AI is going to be any different. However, that's going to teach us ways of actually, it's going to just remind us, not teach us, it's going to remind us the importance of our own critical thinking and our own brain power, utilizing that to dissect. It's not going to be easy. Another point I'd like to add actually is this is why I think it's super important for people from diverse backgrounds to contribute to AI and work with it, because AI is going to work on whatever information is being fed, right? So it's making up information, yes, but this is after it's, imagine ChatGPT, right? It doesn't just start generating text. It was fed billions and billions of texts before it understood a concept and then started generating it itself. Now, my question is, who is feeding the information into this AI? It's humans. What type of human are they? And so where are people from diverse cultures and backgrounds? Where are they from feeding information into AI? Why are we not contributing? Let us not take a step back and say, oh, inshallah, when the time comes, I will learn. If it's going to affect my job, I will learn. If it's going to take over my role, I will learn. Why not start learning now and contributing to these sources right from the start, so that when AI has to make a decision, it has been fed information from diverse sources, not from a couple. And so it end up being biased. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yes, I dived into AI and how AI could possibly help me building websites and these things.
Yeah.
But I think it is so deep that I worked with it like for quite a while, for 2 weeks. It's not a lot. But I forgot the most of the things, and I left it. And now I'm turning back and say, okay, what should I do? How could I dive back into these technologies or tech world? It's interesting. This is actually not my question. I'm jumping to the next question, and this is a bit linked to the tech world and AI. What are you afraid of?
Oof, that's a heavy question. I think I'm really scared or afraid of not achieving my full potential or failing to make a difference, because it's something I'm huge on. Like, I want to live a life where I'm making an impact, where I leave a legacy. And a lot of the times I feel like I'm doing a lot, but not achieving what I'm setting out to do. And yes, that is my fear, that I end up leaving this world not having had the impact that I could, like that I'm capable of, and achieving that potential. That's my fear.
Beautiful. If you were not afraid of anything, what would you do? Of anything?
not afraid of anything, like, I don't know, death or debt or losing. Okay. I would spend my entire time on innovative ventures, like really testing every single thing that comes to mind, because I've always got ideas. Like, I wake up in the morning and I've got at least 10 to 15 ideas. If I wasn't afraid of ending up not making money, or just ending up in debt, or ending up losing friends and family, I would be all over the place with my innovations. I don't know if that answers the question, but I would definitely go for everything that comes to mind, as opposed to being forced to stick to one or two and focus on them.
Next question. An important lesson from the tech world.
Being adaptive and being open to always learning, because things change so quickly. By the time you think you've just learned something and you're just about to get comfortable, it changes again, it changes again, it changes again. And at first I thought, is it me? Is it like, what's happening? Is it the companies that I'm working in? And then I realized, no, like, this is the tech world. It will always be changing. And so you have to be quick at adapting. And so life really is like that. You know, in reality, you always have to change and adapt and not be stuck in your own ways. That's one lesson I've learned. It's a big one.
If money is guaranteed for life, for you and your family, and your generation after you, but the condition is you have to choose a job, what would it be?
One job that I have to do forever.
Yeah, one job, yeah.
If we're not including motherhood, because that is a job in itself, if it's just like a career kind of job, travel the world, teach women to code. That would be it. Find women in villages that nobody's ever heard of and help them. Work with them. Not help them as in save them. They don't need saving. No.
You
Help them
remember,
as in share what I can, like, just support them and partner with them.
you remember me of a Bollywood movie. I used to love Bollywood. There was a movie where she was a woman, she was an architect with another man, and they were quite wealthy. So they used to the villages of India and they built bridges, and only a bridge just to connect between two villages, I think, or to connect that village to water, like what impact it has if someone has an idea and go into the villages. But a really great, you have a really interesting personality, mashallah. Hawra in one word.
Determined and driven. Okay, one word. Determined. Determined, yeah.
If you have your own heart in your hands, what would you advise it?
If I had my heart in my hands, what would I advise? Stay brave and stay compassionate at the same time. And that's my son. I think his little bit of flavor in the background, but yeah, stay brave and compassionate.
What's the best moment in your life?
When I became a mum. I've got a 14-year-old girl, and the moment I held her in my arms, like, becoming a mom was the best moment in my life.
Interesting. I'm still not a mom. I'm in my 20s still. Wow, mashallah. Any regrets?
Being scared to take action. I regret many times where I could have taken action in doing something and I didn't. Those are my regrets, yeah.
Sometimes I do have the same thought. Why didn't I take that opportunity for myself? But my mindset was narrow at that moment. Do you know what I mean? I do. Why should I regret the step that I didn't take?
That's a fascinating way of thinking about it.
Like
Yeah, if
Allah
you knew
just,
what you know
yeah,
now.
Allah it like gave you the Allah, like everything comes from Allah. I know the effort comes from me, but at that time I didn't have the idea or the courage. I don't know. Like I think like I do think that way. Just I don't want to have regrets anymore. Due to the regrets, I'm sometimes angry. Why didn't I do this? Just to remove my, is it called angriness? I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Just so no, that moment my mindset wasn't ready enough to take that step.
True. That's a very fascinating way of looking at it. Thank you for sharing that.
So the last question is why makes you what makes you you? Why are you you? Who is Hawra Milani?
Mm. What makes me me? A blend of passion, experiences, values, and determination to make a difference. I'm determined to make a difference in many facets, but especially the one that I shared with you, in making an impact in women's lives around the world. What makes me me? I think what makes all of us, our experiences, and allowing them to build the bridges in front of us, not break us. A lot of us think, I've been through so much, it's too much for me to take. You know, I'm in my mid-30s right now, and sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, so much has happened. Why do I still want to keep doing what I'm doing? But it's a reminder always to myself that your experiences should shape your future, and stop worrying about what happened previously and how it upset you or broke you.
All right, beautiful ending. I will contact you for sure about the technology world.
I'm happy
Thank you
to
so
share.
much. Before we end, would you like to say something? If not, then we are in the end.
I'd like to thank you for taking the time, and your podcast is very inspiring. The content that you put on your page is super inspiring. So
Thank
it's been
you.
lovely to get to know you, to meet you, to learn about your content, and learn from your other guests as well. There's been a lot of inspiration that's come from them. So thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Aleykum salam wa rahmatullah.